Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lisa and you're watching Growing on Vancouver Island. For this morning's video, I'm going to give you a tour of some fairy gardens. These are not fairy gardens that I made. These fairy gardens were made by my two little nieces who are aged 7 and 8. So we had a little fairy garden party yesterday and they went fairy garden bonkers. I have never seen anyone create so many fairy gardens in such a short period of time. I was completely shocked, and they had some pretty creative ideas, so I thought I would share their little fairy garden creations with you. So let's take a look at what they made. So here's the first design that they came up with. They've got a lovely welcome fairy sign, and they decided to utilize some of the magic mushrooms from my collection that I bought on Amazon. They've got a lovely little dog that looks like a golden retriever and resembles my little garden supervisor outside of the house in this, I think it's a birdhouse actually, a birdhouse in this design. We've got a little birdie over here. We have a tree that's been planted beside the house. And at the back, this is actually more of a fairy village because we've got several houses here. We've got a cupcake house, some traditional houses, a castle, and another traditional house with a tractor. And a nice lawn planted for the dog to have a nice place to hang out. So that is the first design I'm going to show you. Quite lovely. I love the added touch of the magic mushrooms. Here we have some lovely butterflies that are just hanging out above the village. We have another design. I'm not entirely sure what the theme is here, but we've got some unique pieces going on. Lots of magic mushrooms in the background, and we've got a fairy who is in a little capsule surrounded by fairy dust. Kind of a neat theme going on here. And here we have another very unique fairy garden. This piece here is the inspiration for this garden. This is actually a water slide, and when my niece built this, she had this little turtle placed perfectly at the top here, and of course when I went to film this video I accidentally dislodged the turtle, and now look what happens. Oh, that's not gonna do it. I was putting it on the slide and it will just go down like a real water slide. So I do like the concept. I found this big piece of bark in the forest on one of my morning walks, and I thought it would be really cool for a fairy garden, but I had never come up with an idea for it myself, so I put it out with my fairy garden supplies when they came over, and this is what they came up with, which was a little water slide for this turtle down into a little duck pond, which I thought was super creative. And then they have just like a little fairy in here, a couple little fairies, and multicolored sprinkles at the bottom of the garden area are actually collections of fairy dust that have been sprinkled by these two little fairies. And they have a little dining room set here where they can enjoy some refreshments. And I'll just show you how they assembled the slide. I had this little heart kind of centerpiece statue item, and they just leaned the bark slide or the bark piece on top of the heart to create this slide that goes into the duck pond. So that's super creative and actually pretty good engineering, because let me tell you, getting this turtle and this bark to stay the way they are is actually quite a challenge. I dislodged them accidentally and had a little bit of a struggle getting them lined up again so they would balance on each other. So I do think there was some good engineering that went into this project. And here we have just a lonesome fairy that has a lovely collection of sea glass and a whole bunch of fairy dust surrounding her, just putting out the magic into the world. And here's another garden design. This little garden is tucked right beside one of my pieris bushes. It starts in the pieris bush itself with a little bird in a nest. And as we go down, we have the main residence with a fairy who has landed on top of her house. And we've got some ladybugs and a little mouse harvesting strawberries, another fairy out manning the duck pond, and a few other duck ponds. A magical crystal tree with a little gnome having a nap underneath. And the fairy at the entrance to the community is the town greeter. We've got a little duck taking a bath in the bird bath. Here we have one of the designs that I thought was extremely creative. We've got a river here, and in the river we've got a family of a swan with some baby ducks taking a swim. Then we've got a couple of drawbridges with a little, I don't know if you call that a part of the river or a moat, that connects to the main residence here, where once again the fairy is on top of the house on the lookout for anyone who may be entering the village unauthorized. And we've got a tree of crystals, a little barn, a couple more fairy houses, and a little rabbit who's been snacking on the carrots. Coming this way, we had a seashell dwelling where the fairies enjoy hanging out down by the little river. And a couple butterflies in the corner that love to enjoy the nectar from the pansy flowers. And a few little magic mushrooms here and there for decoration in the village. And lastly, we have a rainbow and mushroom inspired fairy garden. We've got a bunch of little fairies hanging out in the mushrooms with a vibrant rainbow in the middle of their little village area. So that's going to be all for this video. If you love fairy gardens, gardening, golden retrievers, you may consider subscribing to this channel. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video. Have a nice day.